And everybody, we are back with another Pitbull Politics, and I am welcoming Clay and Cassie Kinsler back to the show. And we've had them on a few months ago regarding some issues with foreclosure and insurance problems and equity and things being handled incorrectly, or at least, shall we say, questionably, in my opinion. And I also know it's in your opinion, or you wouldn't be here. But the thing is that um, I'm very concerned because we were very we tried really, really hard to get rid of property tax and stuff in this state because it always seems like you're renting from the state because of property taxes. And then I thought that was as bad as it got. And then Clay and Cassie, I got a chance to talk to you. And I got a chance to find out how it's screwed up in a lot of other areas. So would you do me a favor, please? And would you start with where this all started? And in your opinion, it started with the date that Cassie, your dad, got sick. So what happened starting there to just kind of catch us up?
We, at the time we were living in, we have a condo, we own a condo in Bismarck. At the time we were living in Minnesota. My dad was sick off and on in 2021 and 2022. And got released. I mean, he was in inpatient rehab, kind of like a nursing home type situation for 100 days after he was released from the hospital. Got released to home. He was doing great. He started golfing again the following summer because, that was a pretty big deal for my dad. And then we were still living in Minnesota, and we had decided that we cannot continue to pay rent and mortgage and have a life.
Especially in Minneapolis.
Yeah, so it was expensive. And so we just thought, okay, we prayed about it, tried to determine where we're gonna go. At first we thought, okay, we'll go to Bismarck since we have a condo. And then we came to visit my mom and dad and happened to see an apartment for rent near them. So then we thought, okay, we'll do that. Well, I'm so glad we did because that was August of 2023. And later in November of that same year, my dad got sick and then he did pass in December of 2023. So that was a way for us to get back here, was just to, so I could hang out with my parents because as they, they're getting older. And then January of 2024, we had a water event, our second water event. We had one in was it October? We had filed a claim of October 2023 because we had some issues in the front bedroom. And leaking from the flashing from the chimney is our thought. With the condo, you insure from the studs in. So roof, chimney, HOA issue. We filed a claim. Insurance, let me just say, the insurance is not fun to deal with ever. And it honestly, to get that claim figured out, it took until May of 2024.
I'm going to stop you right here for just a second, because was the place livable and I'm using air quotes, but was it livable at that time, even with the leakage?
With the first one, yeah. Yep, it was livable. We would stay there. We had a bedroom, we had a bed, we had our bedroom, everything. We had stuff in the bathroom. We lived there without living there 24/7, but we still lived there.
Okay.
And we were planning on being able to use funds from that to help us get back on track with a mortgage, that sort of thing. And then January of 2024, we got a phone call on a Sunday morning that said, well, there's water coming out the front door of your condo.
Not good.
Not good at all. And it had been, cold. It froze. They had heat. You can chime in anytime.
Okay, stop for a second. I'm gonna chime in every once in a while. Kit, we agreed we're gonna do foreclosure this time. And that's what we want to stay focused on.
Yep.
We had someone that was checking on the condo for us and manipulating the heat, doing the things that needed to be done. And though that couple also walked around and took pictures of the damage because we were already here of the initial damage. So I have pictures, testimony, all kinds of things that show what was, I mean, even the support of the patio was disconnected. There's all these issues that I first of all want to talk about as if we're talking about foreclosure, you got to talk about the mortgage. But I'm not going to talk a lot about it, but you got to do an inspection on a property that's that old. You should never buy a property that's old without an inspection. That's all I'm going to say.
Here's the next thing though, but so did this happen to any of the other units? Were
Oh
there
yeah.
issues? So why was your insurance, they honest to gosh thought $498 was going to fix this?
In the
You
front
had
bedroom,
water,
yeah.
you had water coming out your front door and their answer was $498?
No,
No.
No?
that was the first claim.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
let's talk about 36927 because that's the document, that's the Safeco claim number, 0550-36927. That's the first claim that was filed. Yatina
Okay.
Petaway, it was the first claims adjuster. If you go online to monitor your claim with Safeco, you'll see a different adjuster every single time you click in.
Yeah.
We have had probably
Okay.
7 to 8 adjusters. How is anyone going to maintain any sort of consistency, knowledge, or service if every time you go to talk with your servicer, it's a different person?
Yeah.
Question. Safeco, is that through your HOA?
No, that
Okay.
is through Superior Insurance. They have a location in Fargo, up in your area. They have one in Bismarck. The office in Bismarck isn't even manned most of the time. I've talked with the owner who is in the Fargo location. They're fully aware of who I am and how I feel about the service we were provided. Not only that, at one point, Chris, I want to say Hayward. I mean, he was an adjuster we had early in the process that absolutely confirmed that we were not properly covered. We had 85,000 on dwelling and all of it. I don't know insurance that well. I'm learning every day though.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of stuff with automotive insurance. I used to be a manager of a, landscape supply company in Arizona. But the bottom line is you can't, like you said, $498 just covered the deductible. That was our
Right.
deductible. That's all they're trying to do. So I come back and all this time I'm back and forth just trying to get a simple process completed. Now, I'm sorry that there was so much damage and so many claims over Bismarck at that time, but I don't think I could have exactly. You need to provide the same service regardless
Yes.
of how busy you're getting. And if you can't, then you need to find some way to do it or make it right.
Staff extra. I mean,
Yep.
come up with something, but the thing I'm getting a gist of here is the fact that there were other claims, something was happening in Bismarck, whatever. But just as we've kind of seen in North Carolina, in California, and some other places, this sounds to me like an insurance. I don't want to necessarily, I'm going to say an insurance failure, because that's why you pay insurance. You pay insurance for catastrophe. I mean, I don't pay insurance for when I break my fingernail. I pay insurance for when I break my leg. And this was a situation where you're counting on your insurance, which you probably paid religiously and never had a claim or a minimal, and you were pretty much told to pound sand.
Yeah, I mean it is very frustrating. And our first the front bedroom claim, that very first claim in October of 23, that was our first claim, I think, that we had filed.
Here's the issue. I think they like to lump them all together. We had an automotive claim, and they're all Safeco policies. I don't know if they, and it's weird to talk to insurance people about the basic things like there's a lien put on the condo when Safeco Insurance, Erica Turner, oh, excuse me, should I say names? And anyways,
You just did.
well, I need you to understand that I know that the damage caused to the unit was due to a faulty heating system that has been banned, if not just in Canada, but here as well. I mean, I'm doing a lot of research, but I've already sent a FOIA to the association. My focus is becoming more toward the association because I sent them a detailed FOIA. They failed to respond. You can look at their activity over the time that this happened, and there was no vice president. I mean, it, Kit, I think we both agree there's no coincidences.
Question was, especially if this happened at other units, this sounds to me like that's the also why you pay your homeowners association fees and stuff, because this is stuff that is supposed to be covered under that as well as shoveling your walk or whatever homeowners associations are supposed to do. And it sounds to me like there was multiple failures at multiple levels that just cascaded.
Well, I mean, we need to do just one on that because it's a lot to talk about, and I just want to focus on the foreclosure. I want to focus on the North Dakota Housing Finance Agency, how they performed.
But I want people to understand you didn't just wake up one morning and go, we're not paying our mortgage and screw you. There was a cascade of events. There were multiple agencies from a homeowners association, some insurance. I mean, you didn't get here through malfeasance on your part where you said we're tired of paying the mortgage.
No,
That's what I'm trying to get at is because it's real easy to for somebody, especially when they're in a position that I believe I see some of these businesses in, to go, oh, well, you just stopped paying your mortgage.
yeah.
See, and I want to make sure that this is established as we move into the foreclosure, because that to me is very important, because the knee-jerk reaction is going to be, well, you're deadbeats, you didn't pay your mortgage.
Right.
And I want that clear. Okay.
Right. And I know people, and we may have had missteps along the way. We were trying to survive. Bottom line. And things happened, and I had asked for grace with North Dakota Housing and Finance. I sent an email. I'm like, I've never been treated so poorly. I hope that no one ever has to wake up and feel the way we feel, and have this done to them. Because they bottom line, they will not give you grace. Nope, we can't just, throw a payment at it. Nope, whatever you owe has got to be paid in full. It's like, come on. Well, then get a lawyer. You can't get a
If you're
lawyer.
having problems with your payment, get a lawyer's. That's
Yeah.
like I overdrew my checking account, so they charged me a fee.
Yes.
It's,
Ridiculous.
it's important to talk about North Dakota's level of service, though, and assistance. They'll send you the notice that you are late on a payment, and they'll include in that letter, and I've sent it to you, it's a housing and urban development
Yep.
counseling service in Minot
Hmm.
that no longer exists. If you go do research on it, you'll find that the person just gave up working with NDHFA and they no longer provide the service. There's no
Yeah.
pro bono attorneys anywhere in North Dakota.
Not to go against the state. No,
They
nobody's
tout,
willing
they
to go
tout the
there.
service, so they tout that they're available, but there aren't. There are none.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, no attorney's going to lose their license, because that's what they're threatened with if they attempt to take on the state, and they're a licensed attorney in the state of North Dakota. Good luck with that. The reason I'm looking at this and stuff like it is because when we have rentals, and we had people for a variety of reasons, one of which was problems in the family with illness and stuff, with a parent, and they stopped paying rent. If you've ever tried to talk to somebody about eviction of a renter, first of all, good luck with that. But what we always did was, because we're not a big corporation, we worked with them. They would call us, talk to us, et cetera, et cetera. But we had some people who were 5, 6, sometimes 7 months or more behind in rent. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because they appealed to the state of North Dakota, who then, we did the forms and everything else, turned around and sent us a check for 7 months worth of rent, which was
Well, I
often,
mean,
let me
great.
wait, let me get to you here. Sometimes those checks were $6,000 and $7,000
mm.
because we rent homes. Okay, now, why wasn't something like that available to you folks who were in a very similar circumstance that would help keep you housed? Because their purpose behind doing this was to keep people from being homeless. And I'm sitting here looking at two very fine people who could have used similar assistance. And so my question to you is, wouldn't it be more important, rather than funneling the money? And trust me, I mean, I was happy to get my rent because we do a lot of work, but wouldn't it have made more sense, rather than doing something like this with renters, to also have a similar corresponding program with some homeowners, so we can keep you in your homes, which would, even if all it did was restructure your loan, so that money was tagged on at a, at to the, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can move this money around.
Right.
If your objective truly is to keep people housed. They're running legislation right now for affordable housing and all kinds of other things. But it seems to me like that's not really what they want. And you're experiencing this.
You posted it. They're actually funding the North Dakota Housing Finance Agency as much as what, $200,000 more
Yes.
to stave off homelessness. Well, I can prove to you that that same agency is absolutely responsible for making us potentially homeless in Bismarck. It doesn't make any sense, but to me, forgive me, but government in this country hasn't made sense since I was on the bicentennial train back in 1976. So
Well, I just, you guys had, correct me if I'm wrong, you had about $61,000 worth of equity
we
in
have,
this.
I mean, I sent you the
Yep, yep.
the
And so when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at people who did due diligence. They were doing what they were supposed to do. Quite frankly, as I used to refer to it in life, crap happens. And you did what you could, but you could have used a hand up.
Mhm.
The same thing that they gave to renters who, quite frankly, have very little skin in the game.
Right.
They denied you.
Yeah.
And I don't understand this.
Well, and it's amazing the number of violations of their own policies and rules and century code and all that fun stuff. I just scanned and sent into the file today something that the lawyer Sarah Arberg sent, like might have been our last email we got from her that included some information that I had been asking for, which included an MGIC handbook for foreclosure and tells them how to do foreclosure. Well, what she sent me was that, and we need to talk more about MGIC. We need to talk more about those statements I sent you from Minnesota at the Minnesota trust accounts that are heavily disclaimered at the top. And
That your foreclosure was posted in Pennsylvania.
well, there's a lot of go ahead, babe.
Well, no, yeah, that's what the thing says. So, I mean, who knows? That is if that's where Lee Enterprises headquarters is at, I don't know. But
It doesn't
I used to
seem
work for the Bismarck Tribune, and
it
I used to be a district
it
manager.
it just doesn't seem to me you're going through all this. You might have a chance to purchase your own house back because it's going through for auction and
yeah,
everything else. But they posted in Pennsylvania, like you're supposed to know.
yeah.
Well,
I mean, we knew when the sheriff's sale was, but I don't know if anybody else did, supposedly, because I don't know if there's no guarantee where it was
the
actually
association knew
posted.
somehow.
Yeah, the association knew, and that was put in a letter to everyone in the association, which to me is total BS. But
It's a little
they
violation of privacy, one would like to think.
they have handled things very poorly, and everybody kind of honestly has handled things poorly. Like I feel like whew,
Okay.
that no one gives a crap.
It's deep breath. It's all right, dear. I know it's hard. Please understand that I know I'm asking tough questions, but the reason I'm asking is because through some of the stuff that I've seen, some of the communications you've had, there's a subtle undertone of, well, you doggone deadbeats.
I
Had
don't
you
think it's that
just
subtle, to be honest with you. I don't
well,
think it's that subtle at all.
I'm trying to be nice, which for me is a
Yeah.
rarity, but and when I look at from my own personal experience, some of the people we had that received rental assistance, trust me, the word deadbeat really does qualify. Because I'm not going to go into extenuating circumstances, but it qualifies. And yet they were given thousands of dollars in relief. And I've got two people here that are just trying to pay their damn mortgage and figure out a way to make
Yeah.
it work.
Actually, we were just trying to sell a condo we had hang on to for 7 years, and we had a goal of watching the market, and when it felt right, and it all felt right. It all really did. We had that going for us. We had met with a realtor. We were going to sell it. We had the list of projects that needed to be done. Granted, we were moving. We've moved 3 times at least in the past year because of this. You're trying to survive. Granted, we got the apartment and we stayed there for a year. We're now in Cassie's parents' house, which great part of the story for me. I mean, I feel totally blessed. It's just that we don't own this, and I struggle. I'm 61 years old. I struggle with handling other people's goods. My dad taught me that, if you borrow a tool, you borrow anything, you put it back and you take care of it. If I'm in somebody's house that I mean, it's stressful. I just want to say that.
Well, it's just a cascading of event. Had the HOA solved the first leak, would you be here?
Yes.
You know
In
what
my
I'm trying to say?
opinion.
Yeah, I'm just saying, had they solved the first leak, that on top of the illness, on top of the second leak, on top of the insurance company, on top of everything else, I don't understand how someone, especially when you guys were good paying, you had $61,000 worth of equity, couldn't have taken a look at these circumstances and gone, whoa, 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 we need to help these two.
Well, let me
rather
ask you
than,
something, Kit. Let me ask you something.
okay,
You've gotten a lot of information from me.
yep,
You've gotten a video that I took of a phone call with the payment specialist at the North Dakota Housing Finance Agency.
yep.
That thing tells a lot. And if I had gotten into court with that and I didn't prevail, it would be very surprising. But you have to get to court, Kit. And
We've never were given that
we never got a
opportunity.
hearing. We've never had our day in court.
It's the other thing, and when their answer is, well, if you want a hearing, get a lawyer.
Or go through these hoops. And it's like,
I've
I wanted
navigated
it.
some of the hoops because again of renters who fell behind, whatever, and they're not fun. In fact, I do most of the paperwork and stuff, and with the agencies, and boy, if I didn't have a drinking problem, because I mean, I would by almost the end because it's like, sweet Jesus, what do I have to do?
Yeah.
And it's crazy what they want you and expect you to give to them and things. And then again, I just don't know what the problem is of not being able to at least offer you some sort of term redress where, all right, let's refinance, let's whatever, let's do what we need to do to keep you whole.
Yeah.
And that from all of the communication that I looked at, it was put up or shut up.
Well, let's be honest. You've got the pictures of the damage of the second
Yeah.
flood, just down to the studs, all of that. They see those pictures. Who in their right mind is going to continue on foreclosure? Why wouldn't you just stop and say, whoa, hold it. Look at all this damage. Who's responsible? Because if it's not the homeowners, we don't want to be making it worse for them because they're already dealing with the fact that it's flooded out.
No one
That
cares.
takes someone who listens.
Well,
Yeah. Well, and
And
the whole thing, like the talk or the video that Clay has of the him on the phone with NDHFA, there's that one point where Paula states, "Well, the home is vacant. So when the home is vacant, we get involved." And he's like, "It's vacant because it was flooded. We had stuff there. We were staying there. We can't stay there anymore because it's down to the studs."
it
And
literally was sawhorse. My husband's a contractor, sawhorses, drywall all over the place.
I
If
mean,
you were staying there, I'd be worried.
yeah, I mean, because
this is
there's
the
no
way.
plumbing and there's no electricity.
Well, see there's another one that would, and I have kerosene lanterns in case of an emergency, but that would not qualify as healthy living circumstances. And this is the thing that I'm getting at. They were looking to use every technicality. I remember answering you once in an email when you were questioning me about something, and I said, well, I want you to remember legal is not necessarily ethical
You
because
said that to me yesterday.
what they've done is, my guess is almost everything that they've done, and I'm not giving them a back door here, but would be able to be justified at some level legally. The way they twist everything, okay, you can make everything seem legal, but what is the ethical obligation of the Bank of North Dakota, the state of North Dakota, to attempt to keep two solid North Dakota citizens whole? It appears to be nothing. And I hate to say it this way, but uh, if you were an illegal, I would be willing to bet we'd have you sitting pretty good right now with housing,
Unfortunately,
phones, vouchers, and yes, in the state of North Dakota.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just really frustrating when you think that the people, people that work for the state of North Dakota, and if you're a citizen of the state of North Dakota, would that be that would be working for us, for you?
One would hope.
And they don't
Well,
care.
I thought they were called public servants, but I
Yeah,
guess.
and they don't care. And I mean, I will say that I did work for the state of North Dakota in a different situation. And which I don't want to bring that up, who I worked for, but I feel
That's
like
fine.
I did my due diligence in helping people.
Oh, without a
All,
doubt.
all the time. I mean, I get it that they have their job to do, but sometimes you need to have a heart when you're doing your job.
But if your title's payment specialist, you should know whether you're dealing with a Fannie Mae, a HUD, or there's different loans.
And there's different options that could have been looked at. See, a payment specialist, your job is not just to get payment, it is to assist someone in getting that payment in the best possible way. And if they can put a team of people to get renters thousands of dollars and just send off a check.
Yeah. They should be able to do that for homeowners.
I don't think they get property taxes from renters, do they?
They get them from me, which is probably
Right.
why
Well,
they
yeah,
wish
I
they
get
wish to
that.
pay me.
Yeah.
I know, but that's probably why they wish to pay me. But I'm still saying that the key to this whole thing for me is why are we so hot to keep people renting? And why are we so determined to stop others from owning? Because that's what it looks like here. What is
There's
the
all kinds
actual
of theories out there.
Yeah.
what's the actual agenda behind why they want to just move folks like you along and force people like me to keep others who aren't terribly good at, shall we say, contributing? And we've got some really good renters. We've had renters for decades, but when crap hits the fan and you realize at some point that what has occurred, in my opinion, especially from a renter, is a feeling of entitlement. That's when I go,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, I mean the we can work this out train has ended. But y'all never even got in the station
Yeah.
for
No.
somebody to try to work with you.
And what kills me about this too is the whole time during COVID, the whole lockdown, whatever, that's when we moved to the cities. We paid our rent during that time. And I know that some people were getting help or, they got, whatever. We always paid rent, paid our mortgage. We did it all. What the heck was I thinking?
Yeah, I know.
I could have saved money, but we're not
Would have been good for y'all.
those type of people.
I have to ask you, what happened to you during the eviction moratorium? There was a time where you weren't
When
allowed.
it got real interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll bet.
Yeah. Yeah, because we knew people had money, we knew people had new cell phones, we knew people had new this, had new that. When those checks came in to help them with their living expenses, uh, and it was very difficult for us to look at each other and go, okay, why was it so important for us to take it in the shorts?
Exactly.
And sit there and go, thank you, sir, could I have another? And because nobody forgave our bills. Our
No.
property taxes weren't moratorium.
No.
Nope.
They didn't stop.
And they should have.
And if those people stopped paying heat or water and didn't go out and get the assistance which they could have, those bills came to us, which we were expected to pay. And you can't shut that off
Mm-mm.
because that's cruel and unusual. But look what happened to you.
Mm.
Yeah.
You guys were basically told, you're out of here.
Yeah. It doesn't.
You
That doesn't make sense.
you were
does it?
supposed to live. You were supposed to live with sawhorses, wet sheetrock, and concrete floors, so you could prove that you were living there.
Mhm.
Seriously?
Yeah. I mean, no kitchen, no nothing. I mean, yeah, I could use.
And you have to know that in the video that I have a phone call, there is a lot of discussion about the vacancy, and she's misquoting their own policy because later on I have an email where Terry Moman Clark verifies that no, it's allowed to be vacant. It's a HUD loan. it doesn't require you to have occupancy. Um, so many mistakes made, so many, I mean, and I just accumulate more and more every day. And Cassie has been so upset about this and she has given up, and that's okay. I
Yeah.
see what it looks like, and I'm not the one that's going to give up. And it's just a matter of time. Once people start hanging themselves, it's just a matter of time.
The problem, though, is, and I think they feel secure in this, is the fact that they know you're not going to get legal help. And they're banking on that. Why can't you represent yourself? Why, what is
Well,
other
that's going
than,
to be a whole nother story. I got to share
other
my
than,
story about
well,
how I.
the reason I'm asking is because I know that that's allowed, but frowned upon. In other words,
Have a
you
lot
can
of
get to, you
experience
can
with
get to
pro
court,
se.
you can get to court and the judge is going to look at you and go, pro se, seriously?
Yeah.
But
It's so I wouldn't been in that issue if I could have afforded an attorney. I wouldn't have been in the issue of where we were at,
exactly.
trying to dig ourselves out. It does not make sense. No one cares.
Well,
That's what I've
the
learned.
reason I bring that up is because our renters didn't need to get attorneys. We did. It costs us about $1,000 to evict somebody, and it's a long process. It doesn't just say, and you're gone. It takes
That's a
months.
bargain, actually.
Well, we have people on retainer.
Yeah.
Uh, it doesn't happen often, but you keep someone on retainer because when it does, you want to be able to move. But about $1,000 to get someone out, that doesn't count the time, the court visits, don't even get me started on when they know they're leaving the damage. But what amazes me so much is why they don't need to get an attorney. They can show up and represent themselves in court, and that's fine. But again, y'all seem to be having issues because, of course, it's an attorney that you were talking to, and her first words were, "Go get an attorney." And the cheapest attorney you're going to find right now is about 300 plus an hour.
Yeah.
That's not chump change for
No.
a story as large as yours.
And when you were in transition with, I mean, I had a courier business in Minnesota. She had just started her cookie deal. This was going to help us move here where she had more contacts. It was all a business move. Um, and I had retained that condo, and we don't plan on retiring. We I've seen what retirement does, and so I don't really have any
Oh, yeah.
desire to sit like my dad did and just rot away.
Well, you'll notice how retired we are. I'm
Exactly.
I'm
That's why
I'm
we're such kindred spirits.
I'm chasing 70 here and I'm
Yep.
not terribly retired either. I'm looking at this here and seeing that you couldn't even get him to put the mortgage on hold.
No, nothing. And you understand that I think we're the victims of timing. We're in the wrong place, wrong time. Everything happened at the wrong time because I think they're trying to get all of these mortgages. If you do some study of Bank of North Dakota, I know you have,
Oh yeah.
but
That's why I'm laughing at the
I
number
know.
of defaults that they have and they couldn't negotiate with you.
Well, Bank of North Dakota is no longer doing residential mortgages. They stopped in 2020 and they're converting them all to the NDHFA. And that's all going to be part of another part. But
I'm aware what that other part is too.
yeah, so we didn't have Bank of North Dakota. We had Dakota Bank and Trust. Um, and we're focusing on foreclosure. But when you go to sign a mortgage, and Cassie, this was our first home. She had saved up. This was supposed to be a great experience. She got bait and switched on, first of all, by her realtor. She had looked at a condo that she wanted and suddenly it got turned to this one. And this one's now obviously had previous damage that wasn't divulged at. So I'm going to stop there, but there's lots of issues here. And we're going to focus on foreclosure and we're going to focus on North Dakota Housing Finance Agency. I know we're almost done, but That's where the foreclosure problem is. And when you go to sign your paperwork at Dakota Bank and Trust, and they already have it switched to NDHFA as the servicer, and the policies of the servicer don't match the policy of the original lender,
Oh yeah.
problem. Because right there on Dakota Bank and Trust website, they show how HOA fees don't have anything to do with your mortgage contract and are handled in a whole different contract. Now I'm sitting here today where they've been coming at us for our dues the whole time, of course, and
Yeah.
then the HFA turned around and paid them the back dues.
See,
So
and I
they're
don't understand out of all this stuff. See, again, this is kind of like the renters. See, they made the HOA whole, which wasn't even in the contract.
Right.
But y'all, and
Yeah.
and I'm sitting here watching as this thing goes down. The corporations, the banks, the insurance agencies, the HOAs, da da da, all come first.
Oh yeah.
They're the ones that would have the freaking cushion.
Right.
Well, yeah, and also you have to do a little studying about associations. I'm sure you probably know they have a lot of um,
Yeah.
stuff you
I-
got to pierce if you. I mean, they have a lot of protections.
oh yeah. That's part of the reason why I no
But they
offense to
have to
anybody, but
maintain
never
they
been a
have to
member of an
maintain their
HOA.
association.
Yeah, no, never been a member of an HOA, will never be a member of an
Oh,
HOA
I'll never do it again.
because I am too independent to live under what I would call nanny rules, where someone comes out with a tape measure to check the height of your lawn
Mhm.
and tell you what flag you can fly outside your house and how long. Yeah, not the
Be
girl.
able to fly your freak flag.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm not that girl. But I do understand because buying a house, because the first place we purchased when we got married was the farm here in Hillsborough, and it was daunting. And one of the very first things that happened to us was we hadn't even made our first payment, and they'd already sold our loan.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I didn't, it's in the paperwork that it's going to the servicer. I honestly don't even remember that at all. And it's like you're signing or you're initialing and they're
You're
telling you
getting
stuff.
You
And
get
it's like,
15
oh,
pages. Yeah, you get
yep,
about
all
15
new.
pages, sign initial, sign initial, sign initial. It's rather similar to the warning in your prescription
Mhm.
package. You're just hurting. You just want your pill.
Yeah.
And then when you become dramatically ill, it's well, we
Yeah.
gave you the little handout, honey. You just didn't read it. And I just when I'm looking at this and the mortgage and everything else, I just quite frankly, especially with the renters assistance and the HOA, I am disgusted. I was going to say disappointed, but that didn't cover it. I am disgusted with the fact that the total objective of your saga seemed to be just to march you right on down that road.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not alone. They've
And
been marching
quickly.
people down the road.
And that's you see, that's why I think this show is so important because after your first show, I had some other people contact me and they weren't members of an HOA. They had their homes and stuff, but they're balancing on tenterhooks because of property taxes, because their valuation is more than the insurance company and other things value their house at. And thus, it's getting to be a very difficult balance for them because even if they sell now, they're like you, they've got equity in it, but are they going to get any? And if they tried to sell right now, the odds are would be no. And
Okay,
how do
so
they justify your taking your equity?
I have no idea
Yeah.
because I know we're getting close to being done here, but the appraisal they had done, I mean, you've seen it, I think. I don't know, you got it, but the appraiser goes through there and appraises it at the value that it's worth right now, which is about 45 grand. You just, as you said, sawhorses and studs, and then estimated the value after repairs, and it's at 161 somewhere in that area, thus showing our 6,100 or $61,000 equity, and then now the ownership shows it went to the attorney for the North Dakota Housing Finance Agency. I don't know if that's changed yet, but there's so many things that these people I don't think know themselves that happen in the process that is not right. So I'm really learning a lot personally how to try and be a little more understanding, but this hasn't been really good for that venture.
I'm very disappointed in the state of North Dakota. I'm very disappointed in the agencies. The individual that I'm speaking about, where the house is valued and the whole thing's underwater and stuff now. When she would call her agency to attempt to get things worked out, was treated, quite frankly, the same. If it was lit, well, what do you want me to do about it? Well, I'd kind of like you to help. Oh,
Yeah.
it's not my problem.
Oh, they're not. No. That's not part of the policy and procedure to help.
I
That's not
complained
hard.
to Governor
That's not
Burgum.
on their plate.
No.
I recently sent you an email I got from constituent services for Mr. Burgum. I complained to that twice. The first time I got a response from Don, the second time I didn't. I sent another one to for the new governor. Don did respond, and I sent you that. And I find it interesting that these people are employed to serve us, but I told her that, at the first time that we discussed it, she said, you just need to pay your mortgage. You just need to, pay your bills. And it's like she denied that and then said because I wasn't honest that she was removing me from her case and I can't talk to her anymore. That's really convenient. Um,
Yeah, talk to the hand.
yeah, call you a liar and then I'm not going to talk to you anymore.
Yeah,
So,
and but the thing that's interesting to me is when a renter comes to us and goes, we can't pay our bills, they're Johnny on the spot to help. Uh, to me, that makes no sense. It shouldn't be one or if you're going to help somebody, help somebody.
one for all for one. We the people, for the people, by the people. It's all non-existent.
And I look at the situation here, and I'll be honest, you had textbook happen to you what happened to a couple of our renters with the COVID, the illnesses, and everything else. And by golly, agencies were jumping over each other to help them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They couldn't get them help fast enough. They were emailing us and calling my husband saying, "Oh, we got this, we'll get this fixed." And here you two sit.
Yeah, and you got to have your faith. You got to have faith, or I mean, our marriage has been definitely tested this past year.
Yeah.
And it's sad.
Yeah.
It's sad how these people go to work, they go home to their families, they have all. I mean,
Buy new trucks.
the person at one point you'll see where I ask who is Kristen Baum. Someone that appeared on the mortgage doesn't show any officer position within the HOA. I mean, there's a lot that I'm going to be sharing with you that is just not right.
I just
Yeah, two
know
houses.
that I know that it's been sold. I know that your recourse right now is are you going to attempt to see if you can get any of the 61 grand back? What?
I sent you an email yesterday that
Yep.
kind of didn't make sense, but because the last part should include the HOA, but there's just two places we're at now. We need to either deem the mortgage was fraudulent, which it was. If you look at the promissory note and see there's no consideration, she signed a contract that already said she had received something when she never had. There's no evidence of it. There's no evidence that Bank of North Dakota or Dakota Bank and Trust owned the property to even loan her the money for. You have to have all these things in place in a contract. I know we're not dealing in contract law anymore, though. So,
Well, and again, here's the other thing, legal versus ethical.
Yeah, and that's all said the same way. It's like,
And we get a lot of gray areas that unfortunately become very black and white when it is in the benefit of someone else.
we
Um,
just would like to have what we've invested in it so far. We're not out to get a whole bunch of money. The thing was damaged before she bought it, should have never been sold to her. We have evidence of all that, and that's all we're trying to get is back whatever we invested in it, her down payment, and the payments we paid over 7 years. It doesn't even equal $61,000. We would just like to have one or the other. We'll make it work whichever way we go. It's just we are entitled to either the 61,000 or whatever we invested in the property up until they it flooded. Um, so
Seems
that's
to me reasonable,
yeah,
but
it,
but
and
you have to have a dialogue
yeah, you
Yeah.
have to have a chance to
before
show somebody
anything like
something.
this can take place. Is I mean, the guy who's in the big office right now likes to talk about the art of the deal, and that requires dialogue. And he's been doing it fairly well right now by telling Canada and Mexico pound sand. But see, you're left without leverage.
Oh, at all. And we still have stuff in the garage that we don't know what we're going to be able to do with. We're trying to survive. And we're 3 hours away, and it's just nobody is doing anything to help. It's just how bad can we make it for these people so we can take this money and add it to this trust account we have in Minnesota so that people don't know that the property taxes are being hidden. And that's a theory of mine. But you've seen what I'm talking about. So property taxes are an issue in North Dakota.
Oh, yeah. And I just have to shake my head because the situation you folks are in and have found yourself in for quite some time now did not need to be. Had you had the ability to have a conversation with someone whose main interest wasn't simply getting it off their desk. And that's my true opinion was what's the fastest way I can get this off my desk so these people will go away and leave me alone.
Because I probably bonus or commission on how many I get passed across my desk.
I'd be willing to bet that there are at the very least brownie points that are
Mhm.
given out, and uh, it's just disappointing because I do believe in today's world people are being rewarded more for the bottom line rather than the benefit. And Doug Burgum used to love to say that he considered the people of North Dakota his customers. This ain't the way you treat a customer.
No.
Nope.
And it certainly doesn't fall under the realm of customer service. And when I look at the amount of taxes and other funds from oil and everything else that's funneled into making this bureaucracy of North Dakota bigger, I am left to question who is it getting bigger for? Because it
Not
doesn't
us.
feel like it's us.
I spent 3 years off and on in the oil field of North Dakota, and that state should be streets of gold.
Yes, we should. Yes,
I
yes,
hauled a
we
lot of
should.
production water and a lot of stuff, and I mean, it's
There
ridiculous.
should be there should be very little taxation without representation in this state.
It should be
Uh,
property. Yeah, I don't know. We don't
it
have to talk
it
about it anymore.
well, what would you like to say for the good of the order at the end here? Just kind of to first of all, I would like to make one statement. First of all, God bless you, and second of all, thank you for coming forward with this because I know Cassie, it's not easy, and I'm so sorry. When I have you tell your story, I know it rips you up, not just on camera, but afterwards. Once the show's over, it takes a while to come back down, and I understand that. But for people to understand that they may be in this situation and that they're not alone. And right now, that's not a lot of comfort, but maybe you've got some. I know you have a Substack, and maybe there's a way that you can give us that address and stuff so that people might be able to reach out to you who might want to, at least if nothing else, compare notes.
Well, you
And
tell me something quite often, and you tell me you're not going to be helped at all by a defamation suit or any other kind of other
Nope.
legal activity. So I'm trying
Nope.
to be very, very careful. But yeah, we do have, I mean, I do have a Substack started. Learning the app itself is one thing, but I want to close by saying this is only the beginning. This is episode 2. Um, I found a new passion, I would say, through this. And you have to be looking for where God's at in every situation. So people, bad things happen, but he's got you. There's going to be a blessing at the end. There already has been a blessing at the end of this. And if you don't look at it that way, you got to look at it that way. That's all there is to it. I mean,
Well,
is the
I
answer.
understand that nobody in the media wants to talk to because we've had that conversation before as well, which is the fact that the media knows which side its bread's buttered on,
Right.
and they're not about to drop it on the floor and take that 50-50 chance that it'll land butter up. But I just want to again keep me in the loop. Let me know what's going on, especially when it comes to the equity, because I know that the condo was sold for more than what you had for equity, which should tell me the fact that they should have made you whole.
I know for a fact in Arizona, if the same thing happens, you foreclose and there's a benefit at the end, it's returned to the homeowner,
It
not in
should
North
be.
Dakota. Well, it should be. We
It
earned
should
that
be.
equity.
I agree with you.
I don't care what happened or what default happened, that money is ours.
That again is what's ethical versus what is legal. But then we're also dealing with a bunch of legislators that want to make sure that they pass legislation that absolves them of any criminal activities or having to follow the law, much less anybody else. So the rest of us get to be able to follow their law. They don't need to. So when you're dealing with mindsets like that at the legislative level, I have to also make the comment, is it any surprise that the bureaucratic individuals that aren't subject to election or any other thing, their paycheck comes no matter what, feel empowered to be able to look at you and go, well, what do you want me to do about it?
That was exactly Sheriff Liebman's response when I put forth him the situation and said, I really would appreciate it if you wouldn't sell my wife's property.
Yeah.
He
And
exactly. We're just the post office. We just do the legwork. Okay, well,
well, I know one thing, and that is we're going to keep an eye on what's going on, and we're going to say goodbye to you for today, and we're going to put up our little disclaimer saying again, Pitbull Politics assumes no responsibility or liability for any errors or omissions. Short and sweet. The way we looked at things today is the way that it appeared today, and it appears wrong.
Yep.
I'm just going to say, folks, it appears wrong. So, Cassie, Clay, thanks again. I'll get you the link to this wonderful show out here, and I'm going to go into my disclaimer, and I'll be in touch.
All right.
thanks for the
Thanks, Kit.
opportunity. Have a good
Take
day.
care.